Dear learner, Namaskar and very good afternoon to all of you on the lecture on blended learning, a new normal. Friends, in the previous series, we have discussed the characteristics of blended learning. To go further, let us try to find out that how those characteristics are to be utilized by the teacher and how that blended learning has to be controlled. Friends, if you remember, we started our lecture with the question that what can make blended learning the worst option. So that is also something which we need to analyze. We also need to understand that what will make blended learning the best option. How the face-to-face learning and the learning on the social space are to be mixed, blended in the manner that the blended learning become the best option and it yields the best possible outcome. Friends, to get back to whatever we have been talking about, here the blended learning, as we have understood, that student will be attending brick and mortar school with the teacher present face to face. The practicals will also take place, the classroom teaching will also take place, there would be friends around, there would be regular recess which is required for the students, but in addition to all this, there would be computer mediated activities regarding content and delivery. What is regarding content and delivery means that the computer shall be utilized, the online platform shall be utilized for providing the content and delivery of the knowledge. So, blended learning is used in the professional development and training settings. This is something which is being done for almost decades, and in the West it is something which is very much accepted in quite many universities. So, blended learning is not something which is new presently, but it has become something which is normal in the present day. In fact, it will be retained even if the COVID is gone, because we have also understood that how online platform teaching can be making the learning process more effective. We have also understood what are the lacunas or the problem with the online teaching, that is teaching in the virtual space. So, we can further improve the virtual teaching in such a manner that it can be blended with brick and mortar school teaching and to improve the learning. So, friends, keeping all this context in mind, keeping all this purpose in mind, let us try to understand what are the key ingredients of blended learning. First, the key of the blended learning is live events. What are live events? Live events means the classroom teaching lectures, the traditional lecture which teacher is giving in the classroom, the reading by the student which is happening in the classroom, the reading which is happening in the video conferencing between the students and the teacher. Then we have the synchronous chat. Synchronous chat means the student and teachers are chatting simultaneously with each other. There would be sessions in which the blackboards can be collaborated. That means there can be multitude of teachers also who can come together in such a manner that the students of the more number can be getting more the objective of the teaching learning can be attended in more comprehensive manner, because whenever the teacher come to any platform, may it be the classroom or may it be the space, the virtual space, usually teacher comes with certain new kind of information, new ways, new style. So, those style, that new information and new presence can be utilized more because of having the live events. YouTube is an example, Adobe Connect is an example. YouTube, usually we find that on one topic we have several people sharing the information. So, this is something which is part of the blended learning, which is the ingredient of blended learning. Another important aspect of blended learning is self-paced learning. Why self-paced learning? Because we usually find in our classrooms also that every student is not same. The brain of every student doesn't function in the same manner. So, this is something which is to be kept in mind by each one of us while teaching in the class, and addressing those differences is the most difficult aspect which each teacher faces. If that aspect is attended by utilizing virtual space also, then naturally it will be easier for teacher. As we discussed in our previous lecture also, that if there are students who need some kind of strengthening on certain portion which has been taught in the classroom, then the internet can be utilized. The internet based tutorials can be organized by the teacher for those students, 2 or 3. That will make things easier for the students as well as for the teacher. Similarly, there would be certain intelligent student who need that because they know more than the other students, so they require that the difficulty level of that learning outcome is improved. So, in that case, what the teacher can use is that by utilizing internet based tutorials, the difficulty level assignments, the improved difficulty level assignments can be given to the students, and those students can be benefited in such a manner, because in the classroom preparing such kind of assignment is comparatively more difficult. Then another important aspect or another important aspect of element of ingredient of online teaching is collaboration. What does collaboration means? Collaboration means that learner can collaborate with the others in such a manner that they can communicate as well as communicate one's information to the other, share the other's information, and with the strength of 2-3 students coming together, the assignments or the projects will come out to be better. So, collaboration is comparatively easier on the virtual space, because of course we cannot expect students to stay in the school from morning to evening, but they can still stay together even when they are out of the school because of the virtual space, and that also improves the informal sharing between the students. Another important ingredient of blended learning is assessment. Assessment, here the assessment can be decided as per the interest of the student, as well as assessment can be delimited as far as having the conventional test or quizzes or grades. So, assessment can be done in a different mode also. That will make not just learning interesting for the student, but also new kind of assessment will improve the learning of the teacher, because that is going to create new kind of challenge for the teacher. So, the conventional test, quizzes, grades can be added to further by narrative feedback, portfolio evaluation, and in the blended learning, environment effectiveness or the usefulness of all forms of assessment can be easily assessed by the teacher and accordingly utilized. Then blended learning provides us an option, or you can say the media, to provide support material to the students. The support material can be in the form of reference material. It can be both physical and virtual. The teacher can provide more FAQs, frequently asked questions, to the students. There can be forums created by the teacher in which the study material can be exchanged, the notes of the students can be exchanged, summaries can be exchanged. That will help and act like an aid for learning retention as well as transfer of learning. When we talk about blended learning, it is usually seen that the academicians have differed as far as this understanding of blended learning is concerned. But quite many researchers say that the blended learning models are much better than either the online teaching or the classroom teaching. What are the models? We shall be discussing certain models which have been introduced in the blended learning. One model is face-to-face driver. What does face-to-face driver means? Here the digital tool as well as the classroom will be controlled by the teacher, and the teacher will see to it that how the instructions are to be transmitted either in the classroom or and on the digital tool. Here whenever we talk about face-to-face driver, usually the virtual space is utilized for assessment or transmission of learning material or transmission of challenging portions to the intelligent students with higher IQ, or providing help to the students who need help as far as particular portion of the subject is concerned, portion of the particular course content is concerned. Then another model is rotation. What does rotation means? That the students shall be cycling through a schedule of independent online study and face-to-face classroom. That means there will be rotation. Rotation can be on the quarterly basis, it can be daily basis, it can be on the weekly basis. What does it mean? It means that the student can have the independent online study thrice a week and face-to-face classroom thrice a week. Similarly, online study can be 2 hours per day and face-to-face classroom 4 hours per day. So it can be, or weekly, 1 week we can have the online study and 2 weeks we can have the face room classroom study. So here the student will be cycling through the schedule, and that is why it is called rotation. This model is called rotation. Then there is another model which is flex. What does flex mean? Flex means most of the curriculum is delivered via a digital platform. How it is delivered? Of course, the teacher will be providing the lectures, the teacher will be providing the material, the teacher will be assessing the student also on the online mode. But if the student needs some kind of consultation or support, he or she can meet the teacher face to face. So this was one of the model which was called flex. Then there is another model after flex which is called self-blend. What does self-blend means? Self-blend means that student will have the option to blend the learning with online coursework. How the student will blend? The student will have lot of online coursework. He will also have option for attempting the quizzes or attempting the projects, or the student will be providing the learning with the online coursework mode, but for needed the traditional learning would be there. As to understand it further, let us try to understand that we can have the weekend classes. The traditional learning would be weekend classes, and the teacher here would be only helping the student or providing the information as per the request or expectation of the student. And here the student will be deciding that what are the components which he or she requires, and what are the loopholes as far as the online coursework is concerned. Then there is online driver. What does online driver means? Online driver means that the student will complete the entire course through the online platform with possible teacher check-in. That is, the teacher is going to just check-in that whether everything is going wrong or everything is going right, and if there is something which is required by the student, then the teacher will be delivering via the digital platform only. So all the curriculum and teaching shall be digitally delivered, and face-to-face meetings shall be scheduled or made available if necessary. If the student and the teachers feel necessary, only then the face-to-face meeting shall be scheduled. Another important model which we need to understand is labs. What is labs? Labs means all of the curriculum shall be delivered via a digital platform, but in a consistent physical location. What does it mean? Like the kind of lectures which we are happening in the schools or in the colleges, there are teachers who are going to their colleges or teachers going to the schools, and there only they are transmitting the information on the digital platform to the students. So, as far as physical location is concerned, that is consistent. That is being done only in the school by the teachers, or the teachers are doing it completely from the home. So, it is consistent physical location. And of course, the curriculum is being delivered via a digital platform. This is something which we have been doing since almost 8 months, since the COVID-19 epidemic broke. So, students traditional classes are not being taken, but in the case of labs, school students does take traditional classes in this model, but depending upon the necessity as felt by the teachers. So, friends, with these models, let us try to understand that why it is important as far as online blended learning is concerned, and how we can enrich the blended learning. What we can do is that the blended learning models can also be blended together as per the expectation of the student, as per the knowledge of the student, as per the comfort of the teachers, and when that is being utilized or that is being implemented, that will of course, that the new model will provide the teacher with the new teaching strategy, the student will be getting new learning strategy. And these models, of course, the most important thing is these models should be mutually inclusive. If they are mutually exclusive, then that would create the problem. Whenever we talk about blended learning, we have to understand there are many components that can comprise the blended learning model, like instructor delivered content, e-learning, webinar, conference calls, online session with the instructors, and other media and events, for example, Facebook, email, chat room, blogs, broadcasting, Twitter, YouTube, Skype, and web boards. Friends, now my question is to all of you, which model as a teacher are we utilizing as an instructor, and as students also, as learner also, how we are utilizing these different models as to enhance our learning. If from the teacher perspective, what I can guess, it's just a guesswork, what I can make out is that the instructor delivered content would be there. There would be webinars also which teachers are doing. Then there are conference calls also which is happening in the university as well as at the higher education level. Then there are online sessions with the teachers or instructors that is happening even in the school education and even the university education. But we are not utilizing Facebook. We are not utilizing chat rooms. We are not utilizing blogs. We are not even utilizing Twitter or YouTube or Skype or web boards. Most of us, many of us must be doing it, and also finding that by utilizing all these models, then the learning is improving, the teaching is becoming more easy as well as interesting, and if the student enjoy in the class, who feels most happy? Of course, it is teacher. So, let us try to understand now. Friends, on this note, I will request you all, particularly the teachers, try to utilize whatsoever is available. So, social media can be utilized for our own purposes also, for our own advantages also. So, now let us try to understand what are the advantages as far as blended learning is concerned. The first advantage which all of us have to understand is that it frees teacher, and it makes it easy for the teacher to circulate and support individual student. So, individualized attention is easy whenever we talk about blended learning. Teachers can now streamline their instructions to help all students reach their full potential. For example, if there is a certain student who needs special attention of the teacher, or there are 4 to 5 students who need special attention of the teacher, and the other students have understood the concept well, the student can be given the homework, the task, and be asked to be available on the online and be respond as well as study on the online and do the assignment and submit it. Meanwhile, the teacher can attend to those students who need some kind of support. So this is an advantage which blended learning gives. Moreover, it incorporates asynchronous internet communication technology, particularly in the higher education, and it facilitates a simultaneous, independent and collaborative learning experience, because whenever we talk about higher education, we talk more of having symposium, we talk more of having conferences, we talk more of having webinars. Why? Because we believe that whosoever is participating in webinar conferences, all of them are learned, and because all of them are learned, all of them can add on some kind of knowledge, information to the others, and that is why it can become more of a collaborative learning for all of us. Another important aspect or advantage of blended learning is that the student is more satisfied, because student has his or her own ease and has more information and can access the information on one's own pace. So the student is more satisfied, as well as the success rate also increases, provided we use both the modes properly and we are master of both. We means the teachers. If we are master of both the modes, then naturally the satisfaction of students as well as success rate of the students would be more, because information and communication technology usually finds that the students' attitude towards learning improves. The reason for that might be because information technology is something which they are savvy. Apart from that, it is colorful, more interesting, and the student can see as well as hear on one's own pace, as well as that is more interesting, seeing the colorful things and listening to the teacher simultaneously. That is more interesting than seeing the teacher's face for 40 minutes. Another important advantage of blended learning is that we can incorporate information technology into classroom projects, and communication between the teacher and the part-time student can be improved. So online teaching can be improved. Computer-based qualitative and quantitative assessment modules can also be easily made available to the student, and the course material can also be easily transmitted to the student. Blended learning also has potential to reduce the educational expense. This was something which we had discussed in our previous lecture also. How can it reduce the expense? It can reduce the expense because the online space is generally cheaper than the offline space, and naturally when it is replacing the pricey textbooks with electronic devices, then naturally it should become cheaper. Then the preponement of blended learning gives more opportunity to the students for data collection, customizing instructions, assessment by the teacher. These are the two major benefits as far as blended learning is concerned, and it often includes software that automatically collects students' data, measures academic progress, provides teachers, students and parents detailed students' data. That can easily be done rather than writing everything by the teacher, because attendance can also be done automatically. Similarly, the assessment can also be done easily by the teacher because of those tools, software tools which are available, they can be utilized, and academic progress of the student can be easily shared by the teachers with the students and the parents. Usually whenever we talk about blended learning, the tests are, because of the IT being used, tests are automatically corrected, scored, and it provides instant feedback also. Friends, all of us have experimented it due to the COVID-19, and we have seen that student, because he is attempting the questions, objective type questions on the Google Meet, and the test has been created by the teacher, the result is that as soon as students submit the paper, the score is also made available to him, and the parents as well as student and the teacher understand that what are the lacunas and what are the strength of the students. And friends, as we discussed, I will like to end up with this note that the blended learning will not only be of advantage to special talents and interest, but also be of advantage to the students who need more support. So friend, on this note, I will take your leave. We shall be meeting again as to discuss some new topic. Namaskar. Have a good day.